let's add this to the Sophie Cunningham Keeping It Real collection, which is growing every time basically she opens her mouth. But this is I don't know if it's a controversial topic or what you want to call it. Certainly was a viral topic. Michael Porter Jr., who is a player on the Brooklyn Nets. He was a member of the Denver Nuggets championship team, a real top prospect, had a back injury. He's having an excellent season in Brooklyn right now. Good size, can shoot the ball, can score. But has a penchant for going on podcasts and saying things that I don't know if they're necessarily wrong, but don't necessarily need to be volunteered. The Brooklyn Nets have apparently said something along the lines of, to avoid certain topics on podcasts. Now, Porter Jr. goes back with Sophie Cunningham a little bit through Missouri ties and locales and the like. And he said something that referenced her the other day, which caused her to respond. So basically, Porter Jr. was on the Ball Brothers podcast, and they were talking about like at what age boys could beat WNBA players.
I mean this as respectfully as possible, but 9th grade Lonzo Ball in the WNBA is going crazy. Like in 9th grade, I'm over 6 feet and I'm dunking. Like I'm coming through the no girl in the WNBA is doing that. I'm going back door, throw it up. Like I'm looking like Jordan out there.
I'm gonna go probably 8th grade because look, bro, I have real experience doing this because I played. My sisters went to University of Missouri and I was still a young dude, and they had me playing like on the scout team, and they had a few WNBA players on the team like Sophie Cunningham and a couple others, and I think I was like in the 7th or 8th grade going dumb.
So people called Porter Jr. out for those comments, not even necessarily for the substance of them, but for the timeline, because the age doesn't seem to match up. The math isn't mathing here. Michael Porter Jr., 27 years old. Sophie Cunningham, 29 years old. So it just doesn't make sense that he would have been playing her when she was at Missouri while he was in 8th grade. So people called cap on his comments as a result of that. But then there is the whether or not the story matches up. And why would you make it up? That would be like a, oh, come on, dude moment. But there's also the, root of it, the heart of it, and the statement that was broached and question that was presented to him. And that's something Sophie Cunningham responded to on her podcast.
Well, so I will just tell you, I was working out. And when did this tweet, can you scroll down? When did this tweet come out yesterday? I guess it's like started kind of hitting social media platforms, but I'm not kidding. I think maybe 35 people sent me this tweet yesterday. And yeah. I was like, what? But he said this kind of like, I feel like a year or like at least 4 or 5 months ago, something kind of regarding the same topic. So I thought it was just kind of like resurfacing. Mm-hmm. But then I saw it and I was like, but people are kind of going in on him because it doesn't like the timeline doesn't make so much sense.
Well, from what I gathered, he basically was trying to say no one should compare NBA and WNBA players together because he could beat you guys in basketball in 1-on-1 when he was in 8th grade and you guys were in high school.
I think, and this is my personal opinion, but if you are a professional football player, basketball player, really any sport, but let's just take it basketball because that's where we're both at. Like, to me, like if you're in that elite level group, yeah, you should be able to beat the girls. Like, I'm not surprised by that. Like, that is not I just don't get why it's continuing to get brought up. And like, if women are saying that, like, he couldn't beat them, yeah, he could. Any NBA star or player could beat a female in high school.
Okay, I agree. I think people are like, why are you still like everything he's ever said is like men and women, him just like being so weirdly insecure about women being around him and like their like reflection of him. I think it wouldn't be that big of a deal if he hasn't been talking about women so much the last like 2 years.
Well, why did it, like, what was this a response to? Like, I haven't watched anything. I haven't watched
I wanted to know the same thing. What was the response?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm going to look this up on Perplexity real fast and ask because it'll be faster. The original prompt discussion was about whether elite male teenagers in middle school or high school could beat or dominate WNBA players. Porter said, I'm probably going to go with 8th grade. I have real experience doing this. Okay, so that is fair.
Yeah, the context of it is fair. Yeah.
He was asked, at what age do you think men could beat WNBA players? And his take was 8th grade. Do you think an 8th grader could hang? A group of elite 8th graders could beat a WNBA team?
I mean, if they're future pros, dude, I mean, it just depends how big they are at that age. Like,
well,
yeah. And the majority of the time, if they're going pro, unless you're a late bloomer, like you're already pretty big. And like, I mean,
they're massive 8th grade boys.
Yeah. So I would say that's like probably
honestly
true.
Fuck, I don't want.
I mean, it's probably true. Like I don't want to be unrealistic or delusional. Like men are just stronger, bigger, athletic. Like they just are a different build. And so if you put them up against females, I'm like, well, yeah, they're gonna win. Duh.
Somehow that's become a controversial topic in the last couple of years. And then there's always one of those like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Not the 8th graders versus the WNBA players, but men versus women in sports and the like. And, I've been covering women's sports more heavily than I ever thought I would growing up, if I'm being quite frank. But, I just don't feel the need to do it. I guess it's just, I don't feel that what's the point of the conversation. But at the same time, yes, there are biological differences between men and women, and men are faster, stronger, and all those things. So it just it doesn't prove any point. Now let me couch it a little bit. It ain't just any 8th grade boys that are, most 8th grade boys are getting run by WNBA players. Run off the court, embarrassed, all those things. But the best of the best, the ones that are going to go on to into the NBA, McDonald's All-Americans and the like, of course, and so, I appreciate that Sophie Cunningham is able to admit it. I appreciate that. She doesn't need to, she could go the other way. She'll probably catch some heat from, the WNBA old school, that kind of dynamic or whatever. But once again, she's not afraid to speak her mind. She did it very calmly too. That's what I liked about this. She had some fun with it. She didn't take it too seriously. She addressed it calmly. But we should probably suggest a moratorium on Michael Porter Jr. WNBA versus boy tie. I mean, I feel like he's reached his quota. He's reached his limit at this point. We don't need to hear about it anymore. He's actually having a really good season for the Brooklyn Nets. It doesn't matter at what age the boys could beat the girls. WNBA players are enormously skilled. The product is fun to watch. We all understand it's not the same. Or we should understand it's not the same, but it doesn't matter because game recognizes game. Real recognizes real, right? And that's why Sabrina Ionescu can compete in a 3-point shootout with Steph Curry. And Caitlin Clark can draw the imagination of dudes with the way she plays. And the WNBA continues to grow as people continue to appreciate the product. No one should be tuning in thinking, I'm watching the WNBA because they could beat the NBA All-Stars. And we're now beating a dead horse.